Let's be honest, most NFTs never made sense. Digital pictures with no cash flow, no backing, and no real utility, but that's finally changing. Imagine NFTs tied to real vaulted assets. Pokémon cards, sport cards, collectibles worth billions. That's what Collector Crypt just built. Today we'll break down how it works and why investors are paying attention. Alright, let's dive in. Before we start, I have also a Substack where I publish way earlier these articles. So if you want to be ahead of time, just subscribe there. All right, let's first lay out the general problem with trading collectibles today. Collectibles are actually traded on many different platforms, and especially trading cards are mostly traded on eBay, which have super high fees, 13+% fees. There's no transparency really in the pricing mechanism. You don't know necessarily the seller, so there might be fraud involved, always running the risk you're buying a card that is not real. And with physical collections, you have limited viewership. You can basically only show the cards to someone that is visiting you at your home, and you have to take good care of the cards and make sure nothing happens to them. Also, if you want to sell your card, you don't know exactly what you should take as a price, and also you have to spend a lot of time spinning up an eBay auction and then shipping the card to the other person, and that takes generally a lot of work. All right, let's talk about the Collector Crypt ecosystem. So Collector Crypt is a digital platform where you can trade cards and you can also buy booster packs digitally. So they have a gacha machine where you can buy packs for $50 or $250 a premium pack. And then you're getting Pokémon cards with an expected value of $55. So if you put $50 in, you can expect the value of the cards to be $55. Obviously, that varies from booster pack to booster pack, but generally, if you were to draw 100 or 1,000 packs, then you would generally get $55 for your $50 that you put in. These cards are represented as NFTs and are also physically backed in a vault that is managed by Collector Crypt. So if you were to burn your NFT, Collector Crypt would send you the card to your home. Once you have played the gacha machine and have obtained a couple of cards, then there are several options what you could do with these cards now. First, you could sell these cards on eBay. Because eBay takes a 13% fee, the $55, for your $55 worth of cards, you would get $47.85, which is not that great of a deal. And you have a lot of shipping hassle and need to send the cards, and you have to deal with the website and whatnot, so not really convenient. The second option would be Collector Crypt offers you actually to buy back the cards for a 15% discount. So instead of wasting your time and paying 13% fees on eBay plus your valuable time, you could sell back the cards instantly if you don't like them for a 15% discount. And that would give you $46.5 in value back. The third option is you got a card that you actually like or that is worth a lot and that you want to sell. Then you could sell this card on eBay. Maybe then it's worth the hassle to pay the 13% fees plus your time. Or you could list the valuable card on the Collector Crypt's marketplace, where you can offer the card for a USDC price. Or if you were a real collector, of course, you could add the card to your virtual collection in Collector Crypt. Of course, if you have already a physical collection of Pokemon cards, you can also send them to Collector Crypt. They will verify your cards and send you the NFT to their wallet. And then you have the NFT or your card tradable on the marketplace. Also, they have an eBay sniper, which means that you can actually give your USDC to Collector Crypt, and Collector Crypt will then bid for you on eBay price auctions for a specific card in the last moment. And if the auction is successful, they will mint you the NFT also into your wallet, and you will have the NFT tradable on their marketplace as well. So how big is this trading card opportunity? The market for all collectibles in general is $412 billion in 2025, and trading cards specifically is 7.5 billion. So already a pretty big market. If we assume that 80% of all trading cards will be tokenized within the next 2 years, that would be a $6 billion on-chain trading card opportunity. And we can also assume that Collector Crypt gets a market share of 30%. So that would be a $2 billion market for Collector Crypt, or in volume for their gacha machine of $2 billion. That is a bold statement, $2 billion worth of card buys on Collector Crypt. So how do I arrive at this conclusion? Let's see. Let's break down the 80% for the $7.5 billion collectible trading markets. I say 80% of that will be tokenized, and for the following reasons. The tokenized trading cards have a way lower barrier to entry. You basically need only a crypto wallet for participating in a marketplace. Collector Crypt is very transparent with their pricing mechanism. They always take the last sold price from eBay and assign it to the according card. And also, Collector Crypt verifies that the card is real and that it is really graded how it's supposed to be. So you don't have a risk of fraud where someone claims to have a card and he doesn't really have it. You send him the money and then you get defrauded. Then you have a superior user experience because Collector Crypt figured out a way to give you positive value for, or expected positive value for your booster packs, which means that you get better cards per pack. Collectors will have a prolonged experience of pack openings because they can always sell back their cards to the gacha machine, and on average are losing less money opening packs than on other marketplaces. And it is more efficient because the secondary marketplace, if you sell your cards on the secondary marketplace on Collector Crypt, they will only take a 2% fee instead of the 30% fee on eBay. And also, if you have a digital collection, you can actually show it off on the internet. Collector Crypt will implement a gallery where collectors can actually present their collectibles that they have saved as an NFT on chain. And eventually these NFTs will be also visible in your wallet. It's just a question of time. So more people can see the collector's collectibles actually, or the trading cards that you collected. And it's way easier to preserve these cards. Usually, if you have a physical collection, you need to take good care of it. But if you just have the NFT, which gives you always the right to have the physical card shipped to you, you don't need to take care at all of your NFT. So why should Collector Crypt get 30% of market share? Well, they have the superior gacha machine mechanisms. Like I already said, they have actually a positive expected value, which none of the other crypto competitors have. And with physical repackaging, you actually have a negative expected value. Your odds are way better to get a better card on Collector Crypt than getting your cards any other way, be it physically or on other platforms. Then they have this cool feature, which I already mentioned, the eBay Sniper, which is automatically bidding on your desired eBay auctions, which means if you want to have a specific card or want to participate in a specific auction, they will do that for you. Then they will implement a pricing oracle. That feature is not live yet, but they will build that based on neural network theory, where you can even have rarely traded cards priced very accurately, which obviously draws eyeballs to the platform. If any collector wants to know what their collection is worth, they will go to Collector Crypt if the pricing oracle is the best. Then Collector Crypt is in the process of getting their own in-house vault, which means the shipping times will be way faster. Right now, if you burn your NFT, you have to wait 5 days until the card arrives at your home. If you're living abroad from the US, it probably takes even longer time. But with this in-house vault, the shipping duration goes from 5 days to only 2 days, which collectors will appreciate as well. And lastly, they will implement collateralized lending, which means you can borrow, for example, USDC against your NFTs. Let's say you have a collection of $100,000 worth of cards and you need USDC in order to pay for your everyday life. You can, for example, lend up to $40,000 against your trading cards. And if you don't want to pay back the loan, but you actually want to sell these cards, you can feed them into the gacha machine and then sell them at market value. So you don't have to sell them as a discount, which is a really nice feature. I found a Dune dashboard statistic, which shows that Collector Crypt already gained up until 47.9% market share here when it comes to the gacha machine. Because they have this superior gacha mechanism, they gained a lot of market share over the last couple of months. All right, how does Collector Crypt actually make money? They really make only money right now by the take rate on the gacha pack sales. So they roughly make 4% a pack or $2 per pack. And that comes from people mostly selling back their cards to the gacha machine. Then they have their marketplace. They will take a 2% fee on secondary market sales. Because the secondary market sales are not high at all, it only makes up a very small part of their revenue. If users use the eBay sniper bot, Collector Crypt will take a 1% fee for that, and the volume of that is not really high as well. So like I said, the main income stream comes from the gacha sales. What is actually more of a significant income stream buys their cards that they feed into the gacha machine at a discount. And how they do that? Well, they use their own eBay sniper bot, and they snipe cards or buy cards from eBay that are offered under market value on eBay, and they have good connections that give Collector Crypt a discount on their cards. Let's see how that reflects in the financials. So the gross profit in 2025 was between $6 and $7 million so far year to date. The burn rate consists mostly of salaries, and because they have to spin up their own vault, they have to pay, I think, $400,000 for that as well. So roughly around $1.5 million a year in burn rate, which means if you deduct the 1.5 million from the 6 to 7 million, then you will get already a profit margin of 75% and a net profit of 4.5 million year to date already. So, and considering that the volume for Pokemon cards on chain only recently over the last couple of months picked up, and the first 6 months it was almost flat, that tells you how profitable this business can be. They also have a $5 million inventory value, which consists of cards that actually Collector Crypt owns, which is roughly worth $3 million. And they raised originally $3.5 million worth of SOL. They already deployed a little bit of that. They paid 10% of that for the token launch, and they provided quite a bit liquidity into to make their token tradable. So now they have roughly a SOL treasury of 2 million, which gives them an inventory value of 5 million. So let's talk about the valuation then. The team set internal goals for 2026. You can value roughly the platform by adding the inventory value plus the revenue that the platform makes minus the costs. So the main variable here will be how much more revenue the Collector Crypt will make in 2026. And the team set an internal goal of annualized gacha volume of 1.5 billion. If they keep their take rate at 4%, that would be $1 billion in Pokemon gacha sales and $500 million sports cards. They will expand into the sport card collectibles as well. At a 4% take rate, 1 billion would be 40 million annualized, and $500 million in sports cards would be 20 million annualized. They will charge a little bit for their pricing oracle. They will mainly use the pricing oracle to get new users onto their platform, but they will make a little bit of revenue for that as well, which when the team will hit their targets, will make 60 million in annualized revenue next year. And keep in mind, the costs are not that much higher because there are no marginal costs on running the gacha machine. So that would be make a very profitable business. If the team were to hit their targets, the valuation multiples would be the following. At the moment, roughly this year, they made 6 million in revenue, and they have a fully diluted market cap of $245 million, which would the price to revenue ratio at 40.8. if they reach their team, or if they achieve their team target, then they would make $61 million, and that would put the price to revenue at 4.01x. So that's really, really low. And even if the team were not to hit their revenue target, but 50% below that, that would still give us a price to revenue to growth ratio of 0.4, which is considered undervalued. A fair value would be considered 1. So that would give us a 2.5x price potential if the team would stay 50% below their expectations, and a 5x potential if for the card's token, which is the token of Collector Crypt, if the team were to hit their targets and we would reach a fair value, which means a value of 1 for the price to revenue to growth ratio. So from that perspective, the investment would be interesting. All right, let's look at the tokenomics, and we as always start with the initial token distribution. The team has 19.5%, investors and advisors got 16.2%. They did a fairly generous airdrop with 20% to the community, or they allocated 20% of their initial token allocation to community. I think they gave out like 5% on the initial airdrop, or 2.5%, but the rest is saved for community incentives. Then the foundation gets the majority share of the tokens to get new partnerships and grow the protocol. And then they allocated 5% for the Genesis launch, and 2.5% went directly into the liquidity pool. Noteworthy is they have a 2 billion token max supply, and circulating to date are only around 250 million tokens. The unlock schedules look as following. So like I said before, 250 million tokens that are circulating today. By September 2026, the investors and advisors of the protocol will have unlocks of 171 million tokens, which is 8.55% of total token supply. So by next year, only investors and advisor unlocks will almost double the current token supply. Then in the year after that, by September 2027, investors, advisors, and then also the team unlock start will unlock tokens, 536 million tokens, which is an additional supply increase of 26.8%, which would put the token supply at roughly 1 billion. So if that's a 4x from 250 million today. And remember, these investors, advisors, and team unlocks, they got the token at a very cheap price, or they paid nothing for the token. So any sell for them would be realized gains, and I have to imagine that that has some impact on the price of the token. And we didn't consider even that they have a huge foundation and community treasury, and part of these tokens will be sold as well, because there will always be development costs and so on. When it comes to token utility, there is no token utility yet. The team is thinking about like various ways how to tie the platform value to the token value, and I think they're thinking in the right terms about this topic, but remains to be seen how how the platform value will reflect the token value. And an investor should always be skeptical until a clear path to token value accrual is set in stone, meaning being implemented. So that's one thing to definitely to consider and pay attention to. Talking about the risks, so I mainly see two risks here. First of all, competition. The question is, how big is their moat? I have to say, I'm also not a super expert on trading collectibles, so I don't know really what people pay attention to, or collectors pay attention to. I do think they implemented cool mechanisms with the eBay sniper bot and their pricing oracle and their superior gacha mechanism. So that's essentially better price for money. That's mathematics. So these features are all very cool, but you never know what competitors might come up with other cool features. So there's always a risk of another platform taking the majority of the market share. And I already hinted at this before in the token section. So there's right now no token utility at all, and the unlocks are, in my opinion, also very concerning at these numbers. A 4x increase of token increase in 2 years. That is a lot of potential selling pressure. I'm not saying that all of the tokens will be sold, but investors should definitely consider the possibility that a good amount of the unlocked supply will be sold into the market, especially as the platform gains in value. So what are our takeaways here? The Collector Crypt is a high quality niche project. I think they have a really cool way and a really competent team that are collectors themselves, that really know what they're doing and know what their customers want. So in that sense, it is really promising. Then it showcases the real value of NFT technology, because up until now, most NFT projects were just digital pictures that you can easily copy and paste. But Collector Crypt did it exactly the right way, in my opinion. You have NFTs in a digital form that are physically backed and give users an actual superior user experience than in the physical world, by offering better gacha mechanisms, by taking lower fees for trading collectibles and making the collectible markets more transparent. They also have a really clear roadmap with a good product line, in my opinion. I think the pricing oracle could be very valuable to collectors, and the eBay sniper bots. And I haven't even mentioned that they want to even implement an eBay sniper bot where you can do limit sell orders and limit buy orders, so that you give them the money once and they don't only participate in a specific auction for you, but you give them money and you can say, oh, participate in every auction where a specific Pokemon card is being auctioned off, and I'm willing to pay this and this price for the card. And then the bot will go out and look on eBay for every auction that offers this card. So that's a really cool feature, and I think will onboard a lot of users. And also, I think if they keep their mode with their superior gacha mechanism, which offers users better value for their money, I think that's a really promising future for the project. And then I already mentioned my concerns with the competition and the token unlocks and utility. If you ask me personally, this is not financial advice. I personally won't buy the cards token right now. I think I'll wait at least a couple of months to see how the unlocks dynamics work, and if they will implement utility for the token and how the platform is growing, because there recently has been a lot of buzz, especially also on Twitter, around collectibles and NFTs. Let's see if the platform can grow substantially beyond the hype that recently occurred. And that was it for the presentation. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the cards token and Collector Crypt. Have you used the platform yet? Have you used their gacha mechanism? If you want me to analyze a specific project next, let me know in the comments also. Other than that, sign up for my Substack for more time relevant analyses, and we'll see us in the next video. Bye bye.